Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Maritime today is a program we set for the conversation. But like I do say, if you have any issues on the road, you can always reach out to us or send a message and we'll be there to help you escalate it. All right. That's on 08099120777. We're still tracking that breakdown of an articulated vehicle at Eco C. And control room, you can keep us posted on what's happening within that particular corridor. On the program today, we are broadening the horizon for development of the Nigerian aviation sector. And my guest is no stranger to the microphone. He's an industry practitioner of several years standing, and he's one whose ideas offer some kind of revolution that might change things in the industry. So joining me on the phone line this morning, I have Babatunde Adeniji. Like I said, he's someone that has been there, a consultant of several years, and he's joining me on the phone line right now. Nice to have you. Good morning, sir.
Thank you so much for your kind and generous introduction. Good morning, Nigerians.
Wonderful. All right, so how are you doing this morning?
We thank God. It's a good day. We're looking up to good prospects.
Wonderful. All right, so Adeniji, the last time we had this conversation was a little over a year ago, precisely on the 6th of September, 2023. This is 12 months after. So how would you assess the sector in the country as it stands today?
Okay. I think let's use numbers so that we can remove emotions and narratives and really get to the picture. Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, in their recent data, have confirmed that the aviation sector in the last 3 quarters has been contracting. So instead of growing, we're shrinking in capacity, in passenger numbers, in revenue. So
all right,
we're taking 3 steps backward as a minimum,
which is not very, very good. If you look at it, it means we are on the decline. But this assessment, is it a direct fallout of poor policy formulation, or would you say policies are there but implementation is where the weakness is?
A whole range of issues. Some of them is the resultant effect of many years of mismanagement, misallocation of resources. People come out and throw big figures of how much they are spending here and how much they are spending there. And so if somebody is supposed to have invested billions in the last 7 years, and the results of that investment is supposed to start showing now, if clearly those investments were not made, then the new person is going to inherit failed promises. But obviously also, once you take command, you have to take charge and start making changes. And that's where the concern are. Those taking over, sometimes it seems they don't understand the depths we're sinking to. And we're getting carried away in narratives and showboating instead of getting down to the real hard work that needs to be done.
Okay, so let's look at it one after the other. In terms of infrastructure, how are we performing?
Okay. We've inherited that Chinese terminal, I call it. It's obvious to government that it's not optimum. It's not what it was built to do. And so we have to make the most with what we've inherited.
Now, that's the terminal at Muritala Mohammed Airport in Lagos,
right? Yes, that's the shiny one.
Right.
But in terms of operational functionality, is less than optimum.
But at the time it was commissioned, if I'm to interrupt you, I know that was commissioned about 2022 or no, 2021, thereabout, when the former president came to do that commissioning then. It was tagged to be one of the most novel thing that has been done in the industry. So how come it's not meeting up to the optimum?
Yes, that's why I said one of the major issues in the industry is there's more show business than substance delivery. We go to press and make all those high-sounding statements, and reality is always different. And the noise always seems to drown the reality. As you found, it got to the point where a minister came and he basically showboated an aircraft for us and told us, look, this is it,
Right.
But, so, I mean, that shows you the depth we get.
So what's wrong with that terminal?
Design to start with. The lever you can gain from infrastructure is the design. If the design is such that it delivers on purpose. One of the things you look at is aesthetics, which, I mean, people agree is nice and pleasing to look at, but what was it constructed to do? Starting point, there's not enough parking space for aircraft.
Okay.
So it's like designing a fantastic restaurant without adequate kitchen to be able to cater to your customers.
Oh.
That's a big issue. And based on that, government started breaking down buildings that had been constructed less than 2 years earlier at billions of naira to try and create space. But despite that, some of the tenants who occupy the space targeted went to court and said, you can't approve a place for us, we invest money, and then you're telling us to leave. So that design error is not going to go away. We're going to have to live with it for several years.
Wow.
And so the planned growth and improvement that was tied to all the billions from the loans from the Chinese has gone to waste.
Quite unfortunate that we are going through that. But let's reflect a bit on the broader implications of all of this. So the industry comprises of a ministry headed by the minister, who's currently, that's Honorable Festus Keyamo SAN. And then we have departments and agencies under the ministry. So let's begin to, even look at the scorecard. So far, so good. Babatunde Adeniji, how would you assess the minister's performance in 1.5 years, so to say, or 1 year and 4 months?
I think partly the minister is trying to learn the ropes. Basically, I have not seen, and get me, this is not about him.
Right.
It's assessing his office vis-a-vis the challenges that need to be solved. Because the whole point of appointing is bring somebody to fix the problem.
That's right.
So in terms of the problems of ground and what he has done so far, to me, he has not scratched the surface. Nothing fundamental has happened.
So that's for the minister. What about the agencies under the ministry? Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria. Remember, we had the issue of moving the headquarters back to Lagos. Has that really changed things with that particular agency?
Okay. That's one of those complications that we have that is needless. As far as for us to make progress, those agencies must be autonomous and be able to run like private concerns. Once they are not structured to do that, anybody you bring in will struggle. So they are not structured to deliver optimum. It's still a public service structure trying to deliver world-class product and service.
Right. So
that's extremely difficult and almost impossible.
So FAN still struggling. Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET, they have been, issuing out a whole lot of reports, alerts and all of that. How are they performing?
Well, NIMET, basically NIMET's role is easier to deliver. There's technology all over, even on your phone.
Right.
You can get weather reports of some of these things they are sending. So for me, I don't, their role is important, but I think the real key core aviation agencies are the FAN, Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria,
NEMA.
The Civil Aviation Authority, yes, the NAMA, Airspace Management Authority, and the Accident Investigation Bureau,
right,
and also the schools. That's College of Aviation Technology and the university they've just built.
Right. So
those are core to what we're supposed to achieve.
So let's reflect through the eyes of the regulator, which is the NCAA. So how are they performing?
I think the minister has taken us a bit backward.
Why do you say that?
He's stepping into regulatory functions. The minister's role is policy. One of the things that is, I don't know, unencouraging, to use such a term, is that the minister is micromanaging and getting involved in operational issues rather than driving out policies that should move things forward. There's not been any major policy paper direction that has happened. A few days ago, the Honorable Minister announced the setting up of a committee to be able to help him deliver on his mandate. These mandates were issued over a year ago. We listened to fanfare about how performance bond was signed and how people will be sacked if they don't perform.
Right.
To hear a few days ago that a committee to deliver on mandates is just being set up. Come on. But meanwhile, you can't argue against his passion. He shows a lot of passion, but if you get down to results, we're basically not there. Not move the needle.
Right.
They're not move the needle.
Okay, then. So let's begin to attempt. Let's look through some of the basic challenges that are, facing the aviation sector in Nigeria. Some years back, we have airlines that were struggling to really operate. Today, I'm sure you can count the number of airlines that are operating. What is responsible for the decline, Babatunde Adeniji?
Okay, let me give you some general context. In Africa, the top 10 international routes in Africa, we're not there.
Why?
We're not there. Well, basically because you don't do enough long haul. When you do long haul, you have more capacity. But we're not there in terms of originating to international destination. If you look at airports ranking by passengers,
right,
Lagos is about 6, Abuja is about 10. You get. If you look at intra-African routes that are really doing well, the top one for us is Lagos to Accra. That's all. You get.
Right.
So, and then also among the top 10 airlines in Africa, only Air Peace is there. I think it's just about in the 9th position. And so already that gives you a bit of context of how we're doing relative to the rest of Africa. So what are those challenges?
Talk to me.
First of all, the cost of doing business and operating in Nigeria is very unfriendly, is strangulating, and it's getting worse. In terms of inflation, rate of exchange, the economy, the contraction of the aviation sector is happening. It's being replicated in other sectors too. So the economy generally is not the best. Unfortunately for aviation, it is unique in the fact that when there are challenges with the industry, with the economy, it is one of the industry that is first hit.
Right.
So if inflation rises, air travel is usually discretionary. It's one of the first things people let go. When your exchange rate becomes warped, you have problem of sourcing your inputs because most of your inputs are dollarized. When the economy refuses to go, people's purchasing power reduces.
Right.
So there are each and every metrics. When exchange rate goes up, your cost of doing business becomes almost impossible because your margins are razor thin. Interest rates are about 3% or more now if you borrow from the bank. Airlines do not hope to make more than 10% at their best. So you see the heavy complication you have.
Right.
So it's just a very vulnerable industry that needs a lot of special handling for it to thrive.
All right, then Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. This morning on the program, we're broadening the horizon for the development of the Nigerian aviation sector and taking us to the classroom this beautiful morning, Babatunde Adeniji, an aviation consultant of repute. We're going to take a short break right now. When we return, he will talk to us about the trapped funds fiasco, which was an issue earlier in the year. How far have we gone in solving that? And then the surging high ticket fares. What is it that can be done to really curtail that and ensure that people enjoy air travel in Nigeria. If you have any concerns as well that you want to lay before Babatunde Adeniji this morning, feel free to connect with us. That's on 080-99-120-777. A brief break. We'll be back.
Nigerian Shippers Council Day to serve you well. No matter the problem, we go solve them for you.
Yes, so the Nigerian Shippers Council, they feel in a parole now for every level. And as soon as goods, they move from port A, go enter port B with a measure within on a needle. For the Nigerian Shippers Council, we don't sharp proper to fit hear you wella, work with you wella, and help you fit serve your customers them better, no matter where them day. As we country port economic regulator, the Nigerian Shippers Council get every now to fit make government consider the problem where shippers them they face. Visit we office for number 4 or to buy your daily show your daily. Papa email us for nsc@shipperscouncil.gov.ng. We website now www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng. Allow us on top 0818-888-8895 or 0703-584-6468.
For you, we dey gidigba.
Nigerian Shippers Council with a meeting now for the port of Nanir.
From A to B, from A to B, from north to south, from north to south, from east to west, from east to west, from port to port, from port to port. You can ship your goods and feel good too. Oh yeah, Nigerian Shippers Council, we meet you at the point of your need.
The Nigerian Shippers Council is now better poised with responsive systems in place to help you and other shippers get seamless, stress-free transition for your clients' goods from point A to B. Today at the Nigerian Shippers Council, timeliness, orderliness, transparency, and efficiency is all we care about. Put your complaint through to our helpline 0818-888-8895. Visit us at number 4 Ayodele Shoyode Lane, Apapa, Lagos, or reach us on www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng.
Nigerian Shippers Council, we meet you at the point of your need.
Nigerian Shippers Council, we meet you at the port of your needs.
Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Maritime today is the program, and today we're reflecting through the aviation sector in Nigeria, and we're taking a look at how best to harness and perhaps broaden the horizon for development of that sector. So getting back to the roads, we can tell you Ikorodu Road, slow and steady, approaching the construction corridor from Ojota, linking up with New Garage, heading towards the counterflow point. It's a slow and steady movement being experienced. At Jasa Command area, traffic very good around the corridor this beautiful morning. Megida, very cool. Amule and Church Roundabout is also in perfect shape. And then we can tell you Command, the secondary school there, free. Also, Iyanomero, as well as Ekoro Junction. All those areas looking pretty good. So if you have any questions for Babatunde Adeniji, who is my aviation consultant this morning, feel free to join the conversation as well. And that's on 08099120777 and 09153877127. All right, so my guest is an aviation consultant, like I said. He's founding partner, executive director, general sales for Solutions Management Limited. Let's get back to the conversation. So earlier in the year, we had this trapped funds fiasco, Mr. Adeniji, from foreign airlines, and that was a major issue, which required some kind of action. By February, the central bank said it had paid the last tranche of $64 million, but the International Air Transport Association did say that Nigeria was still owing about $700 million. So talk to me. How far have we gone in resolving that?
No, I think thankfully that has been resolved. That issue has been resolved. And that's also part of why Emirates is coming back and all of that. So they've made progress with that. Okay. But more importantly, this has happened before. So basically, we expect that, there should be a framework that is set up to ensure this never happens again. That's the takeaway we can take from that.
All right.
So that we don't have it again. Yeah.
So let's look at the surging flight tickets. Cost of getting tickets these days, like they do say in common parlance, no be beans, right? So what's responsible?
Well, input cost has gone up. All the input cost has gone up. Because the input cost has gone up, I give an example. One leading airline in Nigeria that is supposed to have about 30 aircraft has only about 7 flying.
Wow.
Yeah, so
7.
That's a huge capacity hit for one airline. Imagine. Why? Because there's not enough access to forex and access to revenue to be able to run checks, because those checks are done abroad.
Right.
And have those aircraft come back. So basically, you don't have it. You are not making enough. And when you make enough, you can't access forex timely. And you have to juggle other things that are also rising. As you know, yes, we are happy Dangote refinery is here.
Right.
But the input crude too is still sourced in USD. And so the Jet one is deregulated. So as price inches up, it will inch up too.
So that will have an impact on the tickets as well.
Yes, basically. So you have increasingly higher costs, reducing capacity and supply. So basically, it's economics.
All right.
When supply is constrained, price goes up.
Right.
So that's really what we're dealing with, and it's not unique to aviation. Yes.
All right. So we have some contributions that are coming in on WhatsApp already for you. This one says, "Good morning, Mr. Babatunde. How can Nigerian airlines compete effectively with international carriers on domestic and regional routes?" Bidemi is sending that one in from Ogba.
Okay. I think, first of all, you have to be able to source funds at a competitive rate. If you cannot source funding at a very competitive rate, then it's almost like saying you are dead on arrival.
So are you suggesting here that the federal government should look at ways of providing something that is stable for those that are operators in this industry?
I am not a fan of government involvement in these things. I prefer a government involvement that creates an enabling environment for it to happen rather than getting involved directly. What I mean, for example, is if one of the challenges you have with sourcing funds is the risk. Because, yes, the risk is part of what makes your interest goes up. If I perceive you as a risky borrower, your interest goes up. But if I perceive you as a relatively safe borrower, then your cost goes down.
All right, let me just bring in some other contributions that are coming in. Thick and fast on the program. This one says, "Good morning, Traffic Radio. It's refreshing to have this subject matter on air this morning. What steps do you suggest airlines should take to become more efficient and profitable?" You didn't put your name, by the way. All right. I'm sure that he will respond to that. This one says, "Mr. Babatunde, in your expert opinion, how can Nigerians streamline regulations to make it easier for new airlines to enter the market? Thanks." This is Ifeanyi from Apapa. This one says, "Good morning, Victor and Babatunde. What can you propose as the best approach to dealing with regulatory bottlenecks that slows down sector development?" Says, "I am Chris." All right, so 2 things for you to respond to there. He said, what are you proposing for entry of new airlines?
Okay. Sorry, let me take you back.
Okay.
You know, most of those questions were about what can airline do. Now, aviation is an ecosystem. If the airports are not optimized, if your air routes are not optimized, if all the support functions you need are not run efficiently, you will struggle forever and ever and ever. So for me, the first thing, this is the kind of involvement I want government to do. They either fully privatize and make those agencies autonomous and be made to run professionally. That's the starting point.
Okay.
If they can run professionally, they become accountable. For example, if one has a service level agreement with the airline and they cause a delay, the airline should be able to get penalties from FAN for that because they pay for that service. It should be delivered.
Right.
We need to get to that level. So if the environment, the operating environment, many of these government monopolies becomes privatized to run professionally, that's already a big step.
Let me ask you this question, Adeniji, even as we gradually wind to the end, we have more airports that are springing up across the country. Are they viable?
No, I think recently, a few weeks ago, the FAN MD told us what we knew already, that maybe only one or two are viable. That's part of the problem. FAN cannot, that's why I said the way FAN is structured. Some governors are building unviable airports and they are handing it over to the federal government. And the federal government is rewarding them by saying, okay, whatever you spent on it, we will pay you back. You get, so they are handing it over to FAN. Meanwhile, you are telling FAN, we need you to remit so much and so much to us.
All right. So as we round this up quickly, so in 30 seconds, if you had a chance to speak with President Babatunde this morning on how to revive and make the aviation sector very active, what are the things you tell him in 30 seconds?
Okay, I'll basically tell him that he should drive autonomy of the agencies, help develop local capacity and capability throughout the value chain, MRO and all of that. Drive synergies with all the ministries that are involved in everything related to aviation. Ministry of Trade, Ministry of External Affairs, IT, Tourism, Oil and Gas, to have a multi-sectoral approach to, treating aviation with the care it deserves.
Okay.
Be able to improve, champion a sustainable framework among the agencies, so that they are accountable for the service they are meant to deliver.
All right, then we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that for now, and hopefully we'll be able to get you into the studio someday, and you can dwell more on how to really, really develop this sector. Thank you so much for connecting with us this morning.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, then, so we've been able to broaden the horizon for the development of the Nigerian aviation sector, and we've done that through the viewpoint of Babatunde Adeniji, who's an aviation consultant, and he is also the founding partner and executive director, general sales for Solutions Management Limited. We have to go. The program has been produced by Dayo Anthony. I say a big thank you to Toluwalashe Isiaka and Oyade Adedeji. Both of them in the studios with me this morning. Okpayemi Shodunke, and of course our social media team. We do say a big thank you to you. Our executive director is our executive producer is Taya Conley, and let me also say a big thank you to Rebecca Adamu, who's assistant director, public relations for the Nigerian Shippers Council. Connect with the Shippers Council on all their platforms at NG Shippers. My name is Victor Oteri. Have a splendid day. Bye.
Nigerian Shippers Council, they to serve you well. No matter the problem, we go solve them for you.
Yes, so the Nigerian Shippers Council, they feel in a parole now for every level. And as soon as goods, they move from port A, go enter port B with a measure within on a needle. For the Nigerian Shippers Council, we don't sharp proper to fit hear you wella, work with you wella, and help you fit serve your customers them better, no matter where them day. As we country port economic regulator, the Nigerian Shippers Council get every now to fit make government consider the problem when shippers them they face. Visit we office for number 4 or to buy your daily show your daily. Papa email us for nsc@shipperscouncil.gov.ng. We website now www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng. Allow us on top 0818-888-8895 or 0703-584-6468.
For you, we dey gidigba, gidigba, hey.
Nigerian Shippers Council with the meeting for the port of Nanir.